What's going on,
Lemzi.
everybody? Welcome back. It's your boy, this is Mehul, and right now I am here with Lemzi. Lemzi, how are you, man?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Enjoying the sun that we're finally having.
Amen.
That's it. That's the key. That
Amen.
is the key. But, bro, thank you so much
Trust me.
for speaking with me today. I know it's exciting times for you right now, but let's kind of take it all the way back to the beginning. How did you kind of get started off in music?
Um, Boy, this question always gets me thinking, man. So primarily, yeah, like obviously as a kid, everyone just listens to whatever music their parents or like adults that are listening to music are playing. So it's on the radio. But then I remember when I was about 9 years old, I remember seeing Eminem 8 Mile video on TV, and it because he was someone who was always on TV. It came up quite a lot, and I just remember thinking, "Yo, I like this. Whatever this is, that's for me," kind of thing. So it's obviously not the first time I'd heard rap music, but it's the first time where I've got a face to the person who's doing it,
Hmm.
and I'm memorizing what that person is saying. So from that point onwards, I think I just developed a real affinity to hip hop music, which actually just got me starting to write my own stuff
Yeah.
from like the age of 10, 11 kind of age. And then when grime really came into fruition around 2003, 4, so I was only in secondary school there. I was young, like year 8 kind of age.
Yeah.
Again, it was big for me. It was just like, wow, there's people who do what, these Eminem, 50 Cent, Ja Rule people do, but they speak like I do.
Yeah.
They wear similar clothes. And even more than that, they're from down the road. So it just made everything heightened for me, where it's like, cool, I want to be a part of that experience and a part of whatever this movement seems to be, even though, I'm not going to any radio sets or Eskimo dances or whatever, but just listening into those kind of things, whether it was Westwood sets or Logan sets or DJ Spirit, whatever they were, it was just amazing for me as a young man. Because it felt like, cool, this is an outlet. No
Hmm.
matter what you think or what other people might think, this is an outlet, whether it's me just writing and being quite poetic with things, or if it's me actually rapping along to whatever instrumentals are going. That was kind of like where it started for me, that kind of young age of just having real affinity to music, and particularly the use of spoken word and language.
Well, being from East London, it's known for its key sort of role in where sort of the hip hop rap scene grime is now. Like when you think of grime, you think Wiley, East
Yeah,
London. For you, when you were starting
yeah.
out, was it sort of any pressure being like, oh man, I've got to be good at this, I'm repping East.
Not really pressure, if I'm totally honest with you, because it was just fun. You know what I mean? Like, and one of the things that was amazing about grime was that it felt so accessible. Whereas, as I said, those American artists, like, they were fine polished. They had mastered albums. They had global tours. All of these things happening. They had stylists, so they looked a certain way.
Yeah.
This was literally just people who, I've left my house. I'm gonna buck my friend, and we're gonna rap, kind of thing. And as a kid, it makes it so easy because it's like, okay, cool. So that's all it takes. Like, just whatever I'm feeling like at the time, I could do it. And aside from that as well, like, and I hope no one takes this as a discredit thing, but not everyone was sick. Like, there were so many different styles and different ways of doing grime that it meant however you wanted to leave an imprint, or whichever styles you wanted to get influence from or mimic a bit, you could do that. So there were people who it would be very, very basic. Like, they might repeat the same line over and over again just to get a reaction. And that was good, because the big distinction for me anyway between like the hip hop side of stuff and then the more grime side of stuff was, grime was more like how you're saying what you're saying, whereas hip hop was more, what are you saying? You have more time within each bar to really express what you're going to get across, whereas grime was more like, come, give it to me, like, how you give me that energy, or cool, give me that flow, whatever it was. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily about, all right, you have to be sick right at the beginning. It was more just enjoy it, vibe of it. And then you can grow into this idea of, okay, if I'm going to radio sets, now I've got to be sick.
Yeah.
Now I've got to know that I've got 196 bars in the top of my head that I can go to, just because everyone's spraying for 3 hours long, and you want to touch the mic, and when you do touch the mic, you can't get shown up too much. You just have to make sure you're at least on par with what's happening. Yeah, that's a different type of currency and energy, that one, but it's sick.
Mate, well, I read somewhere that was it true that you did a law degree? And for me,
Yeah.
it's because I work in TV and I've seen people like
Mm.
come through and do trainee schemes, and I'm like, wait, you got a law degree? Are you sure you want to go into this industry? Because you've got quite a good degree that can kind of kit you up for life if you do quite well. Because they're two very different industries. Like music, similar to telly, is
Very
very
different.
freelance. You don't know when the next paycheck potentially could be coming. Were
Mhm.
you worried about taking that risk going into it full time?
100%. Yeah, I'd be a liar if I said that it didn't impact my decision on what I was doing. I think for me though, my journey is relatively unique when it comes to the type of music that I do and the areas that usually people are from in East London. But so for me at the beginning, I went to private schools, and the thing of private schools is that they're basically channels into further education. So me going to uni was, from my experience, it was a given, innit? Like I was always destined to go to university, and it was never really a question, despite how much I might have enjoyed sports or music, because I was quite sporty when I was young. That was more my thing than music, if I'm honest.
Mm.
But what uni did for me, actually, it really, really accentuated the factors of time and how to utilize your time the best, because you're not in uni as much as you are in school. The degree I did, by the time I was in my final year, I think I was in uni 8 hours a week, which is, it's nothing. Like a lot of it is based on you go to the library, you study, you go online, you study, like do for yourself a lot. And because you're given that luxury of time, it's almost like, okay, cool, I will either smash out library 24/7 and just revise,
Yeah.
or I will smash out library here, do a bit of sports here, do some music here, kind of thing. Like, and that's more how I was. I knew how to really balance my time. And I think from completing my degree, got a 2-1 at Uni of Manchester, I was like, whoop, this is great. But I did a few different bits of work experience during that time, subsequent to uni as well. After graduating, I was working in an accountancy firm. I did some e-commerce stuff with my dad, who has a retail business. I did, what was I? I was a legal assistant for a while, and I just knew none of them were really me.
Yeah.
So when it came time to make the decision of, okay, cool, what am I doing next? Because I was made redundant from my last job. It's like, cool, what are you doing next? So you getting another job that it'll pay the bills, but it's not really what you want to do? Or this passion that stayed with you consistently, are you going to finally give yourself to that? And I was in a position where I was enabled to do that because I had enough savings at the time. We got given redundancy / bonus pay. So it was like, okay, cool. This is the calculated risk right now. And although this was like in 2016, I said at the time, yeah, I'll do it for a few months, see how it goes. And just haven't looked back.
But you know what?
Haven't looked back.
It's crazy because you've got all that experience. And I think one thing people forget with music is the business part. It is the music business, essentially.
100.
All your experience has almost kind of benefited you in a different way. Whereas now
Yeah,
you've got so much experience and an understanding of how things work that potentially other people don't know.
definitely. That's what I always think, feel for myself as well, because my disadvantage, if you want to call that, is that like I didn't grow up in the environments where a lot of the people who from a very young age were just like, they'd shake hands with the MC next door, that MC would take them to wherever, or that DJ would make sure they come in the sets. I didn't really have that. I was in tune with it and it was around enough, but yeah, my experiences are more a case of, okay, cool, like you've been in the world of work quite a lot, you had to wear a suit and tie for a bit, and you can marry that with, as you said, the business, music business stuff, which is why, well, probably why I've got quite an entrepreneurial
Yeah.
state about me. Like I do, besides just me going to the studio to record music, like currently working on helping develop this app. I've got a clothing line that's there. I do events as well over here, do some workshops over here, started a podcast not that long ago over there. Like there's, my creativity kind of flows in different channels, and I don't really box myself into just being a music artist, because in being a music artist, that's usually the platform or the advert of all of these other things that I'm capable of doing.
Crazy. Well, the reason we're talking is the new record Solxtions. What was the whole process behind creating that?
Yeah, I just, throughout last year of lockdown, man, it was a weird time, man, where I wasn't an artist. Like, I just wasn't an
Not
artist
many
because I wasn't
people
going to
were.
studio, I wasn't performing. that's what yeah, I feel like a lot of people have had this experience, which is why it feels so good to be able to talk to different people about it. And for me, it was a case of, cool, I'm checking out of this whole creative, artistic self, which on reflection is very much just my ego self, really. It's like the self that needs acclaim. It's the self that needs some sort of external validation, because that's how it sees success. You know, in music, that's how you see success, by more people listening to or buying your music or buying tickets, etc. And I had to revert into just my own normal self, that self, away from that ego side. And in doing that, I think I kind of just learned, do you know what, even with all of this music and creativity, I'd box myself into like doing certain things that I felt comfortable with, and it was time for me to expand on it, just live a little, like be freer of the idea you have of yourself and create whatever actually feels genuine at the time. So this producer, Tob Beats, or just Tob, I should say, actually, he sent me this instrumental for Solutions, as
Yeah.
well as a bunch of other ones, which he was the one main catalyst for me during lockdown of just, all right, cool, keep that little spirit of creativity going, kind of thing. And but this beat, as soon as he sent it to me, I was like, yeah, it's got to get touched. It's just got to get touched, because I could just hear summer. That's what I could hear. I could hear summer, and I could hear me in a different state. Because
Mm.
most people, if they do know what I do, it's very like, it's quite lyrically dense, usually what I do. And I wanted to be able to express myself in a way that's way more concise and just more fun and free, and than like the mellow jazzy vibes that I usually give people. I thought, nah, people need to know I have fun too. I go out, I have drinks, you know, I might bust a little move here and there, like so let me create the songs that really represent that. And Solutions is just one of them. But yeah, I'm really happy with this one.
Yeah, man. Because when I heard the beat, I was like, oh man, throwback, that garage style beat.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never heard positive energy like that on a garage record, because you generally don't. It's all about sort of fun. There's not a lot of lyricism behind it. It's all about
yeah,
energy and feeling with garage, isn't it?
yeah,
And with
yeah,
Solutions, it's like, wow, I've actually not heard a fusion of sort of that kind of positive lyricism and that mixed together. Was it sort
yeah,
of a
yeah,
conscious
yeah.
thing you wanted to do, or is it very much, I'm just going to keep it very minimal and just let almost the beat ride it a little bit? Because a lot of artists are using this garage sound right now. It's
Yeah,
one of the big in sounds, but they just get a singer, sing a little hook, and just kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
let it
yeah, yeah.
flow a bit.
And just let it do its thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of conceptually,
Mm.
100%, I was like, whenever I make a song, I always feel I need to say something still in it. Like,
Yeah.
there's very few times where I could say, oh, I've just said a song for the sake of saying a song. This, as you said, it's more actually about positive affirmations than anything. And it's actually, whilst I can imagine most people will be probably a bit intoxicated when they hear something like this, because they might be in a certain
Yeah.
environment that allows that. Cool, fine, have fun. Understand that the song is actually about being the non-problematic person when you're out. Like, you're not doing any of the stuff that constitute that would be or attributes towards like date rape, drugs, or anything like that, because there's lines in there that actually focus on that, like, don't be that person, don't be out here doing that. Or the fact that you and your people might just be out, you don't need that drunk person over there to come over to you and just interrupt what's the vibe that you and your people have, kind of thing. Like, that's what the song is mainly about. It's just go out, have a good time, but still, whether you are completely sober or whether you are, you know, 10 shots deep, like, just look after yourself and be mindful of where you're at and how you can still be perceived by other people in it. um but yeah, the delivery and the technique,
Mm.
that was a thing where I was like, all right, cool, do give it space, let the beat breathe, make sure that you say what you need to say within about 4 bars at a time, and then move on, like move on. And also, just repetition is good. As someone who's I'm steeped, as I said, I'm steeped quite in lyricism, and that's where I've come from. The idea of repeating lines is typically like frowned upon. Like, don't do that, come up with something new. Each word should be something that gets people going, and they have to follow that journey. But again, that's the idea of the artist that I was, whereas now I'm very much like, cool, any genre, let's go. Any genre.
But you know what? You kind of touched on it earlier with COVID and wanted to find that positive sort of energy and forward thinkingness. Was it quite difficult at that time to write like that? Because you just look on the news, it's just negative energy. You go outside, it's just dead, like ghost towns essentially everywhere. You potentially could be locked down, not seeing people, not having that fun and vibes with friends and family. Was it tricky
Yeah.
getting yourself into that headspace?
Generally speaking, yes. And that's why I give so much praise and props to Todd, because for me, I was responding to the production. The production made me get into my creative space. And the thing about creatives is that we're imaginative. Like everything here is, it's our illusion or our delusion, if you want, in it, that enables us to actually create the art that we do. So me hearing that beat and feeling it a certain way, as I said, I saw summer, and I saw going out, and I saw what it would be like again to just be in that space, that club environment, that bar environment, that day rave environment, and how I want to see it, where it's non-problematic, people just out there having a good time and anything like that. But without the production to get me to that point, especially last year, it probably would have been 10 times more difficult for me to actually think of being out with people and stuff like that. Nah, it's not happening.
Well, Lemzi, before I let you go, just final question. What can fans kind of
Cool.
expect from you for the end of this year? Because there's 6 months left. God willing, we're about to come out of lockdown. Shows about to be popping off again. You can go mad with the music. What can the fans expect?
Man, hopefully a lot. Basically, I had a first 6 month plan, which is actually pretty much, as you said, it's nearly the end of the 6 months. It's all wrapping up very, very soon in the next couple of weeks. So there will be 2 more singles dropping Friday, the 4th or 5th, 4th of June. 2 more singles with Tells.
Yeah.
But for the next 6 months, I don't know, is really and truly. I know that there will be 100% more music, maybe in the shape of a project.
Yeah.
And as you said, depending on the outside nature, I might try and put on another headline show. But yeah, I need to really plan everything properly to know. But 100% music, that's what's going to be there. 100% this app called Spoke, that's going to be there as well. And yeah, we're just working on just different ways of expressing ourselves now, whether we can do it live or online.
Well, Lemzi, thank you so much for speaking to me. And I know everyone can't wait to kind of hear from what you've got next in store.
Nah, thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a good chat.